Are you looking at picking up a new camera that will take your videos to the next level? You may have heard of the Sony ZV-1, but you're not quite sure whether you should pick one up. Well, if that's you, then don't panic. In this video, we'll be looking at the pros and cons of the ZV-1 and why it could be the best camera for making online content. Let's dive in. So, I've been using the ZV-1 for a good few months now and have a few things to say about it. And I'm actually recording on it as we speak, so I guess you can be the judge of it. Spoiler alert, I absolutely love this camera, and if I would need to pick up a camera again, I would at the drop of a hat get this one. So I guess the question is, what do you need in a camera that you're going to be using for online video? Let's go through some of the things which I suspect you'll be looking for. You're going to need it to be compact, so you can take it around on your travels, especially if you're into vlogging. You're going to need it to be good quality footage because ultimately it's 2020 and we're a whole 5 years ahead of when Marty went back to the future in Back to the Future 2.
Hoverboard.
It's also going to need a flip screen as well, so you can see yourself when you're filming to make sure that you're in shot and you're looking pretty.
Because you're worth it.
Ultimately, you don't want your head chopped off. That would be just dreadful, wouldn't it, really? It's going to need to have a mic input jack to plug in an external mic to get that better quality sound. In an ideal world, you might want to use the camera for online streaming and video calls, since we need it these days in the world we're living in. Ultimately, we're going to need a camera that won't limit us and will be future-proof for a good few years. So, why do I love the Sony ZV-1 so much? Let's go through some of the pros and the cons. So, pros. It's super versatile. It's portable, it fits in your pocket, it's convenient. It's got a flippy screen. It's got no interchangeable lenses, so you can grab and go at the drop of a hat. It's got a really cool defocus button, which means you can get that super blurry background at the touch of a button. Another cool feature is it has a memory recall button, which means you have the power to define a range of settings for your camera, which you're likely to need in certain scenarios. And then you have the ability to recall these really quickly. And on that note, in order to recall the menu settings you've just programmed, there's this cool function menu bar. Next is the quality of the camera is really good. The camera allows you to shoot video and photos. It even supports taking photos in RAW format, which ultimately gives you a lot more control. The microphone is the best internal microphone I've seen on a camera. It also comes with a dead cat, which allows you to muffle wind sound when you're outside. It's a little furry thing that looks quite cute. It supports picture profiles, so if you want to take your video editing to the next level, you can begin to do that with this camera. It's also got an external mic input, which allows you to plug in an external microphone so that you can get better quality sound. It's got a clean HDMI output, so you can basically record to an external device if you wanted to, or view your video footage on a monitor. It's perfect for streaming and webcam use. It's got an external ND filter, which allows you to use your camera properly outside. Some cameras don't have that built in, so the fact that the Sony ZV-1 has this is super cool. You can even power the camera while you're recording, so you can have unlimited battery life in effect. It has a range of great accessories available, and I'll be doing videos on them in the near future. You can also rotate the camera so it can operate in portrait mode if you're into doing TikTok videos and Instagram. Lastly, the price is extremely good. You're looking at paying about £700 in the UK for an incredibly powerful camera that fits in your pocket, that you can take anywhere with you. Now, I'm not about to turn around and say that you must buy this camera, because it does depend on your individual needs. Ultimately, if you're further down the line in your online business or your YouTube channel, then the chances are that you're going to need something a bit more advanced. Probably a mirrorless camera with interchangeable lenses that is a lot more money. But if you're either starting out or you're midway in your online business journey, or you need a compact travel or vlogging camera for doing all those YouTube videos, then I'd say check out the Sony ZV-1. Ultimately, this camera is perfect for run and gun shooting. And if I'm out vlogging with my family, the last thing I want to do is take out a heavy, big, clunky camera and start changing lenses, because by the time I've actually changed a lens on my camera, my family have got seriously bored waiting for me and moved on. Obviously, if I was doing high-end client work, I simply couldn't use the Sony ZV-1. But I would say even for some basic client work, this could do the job just great. So we've looked at the pluses, but what about the cons of this camera? Let's take a look. So the cons. There's no interchangeable lenses, so it does restrict you to some degree. The battery life, you'll probably get about an hour out of one battery round. It's not got the best zoom range in the world. This camera has a 24mm to 70mm lens on it, so the zoom isn't brilliant. The battery compartment can be a bit fiddly to access. It holds the SD card and the battery in there, and if you've got it on a tripod, you literally have to unscrew the camera in order to change the battery out or the SD card. The stabilisation is okay, but not great. Even on the highest setting, it's still not brilliant, and to be honest, GoPros are much better at stabilising your footage. And also the Sony ZV-1 will add a crop to your image as well when you're on the highest stabilisation setting. So ultimately I would say you need a gimbal if you're going to really do a good job out and about. But to be honest, that isn't an issue for everyone. The field of view isn't very wide, so you can't, because it only goes down to 24mm, it restricts how wide the image looks. That can be a disadvantage, or it can be a plus. And lastly, the camera allows you to shoot photos in RAW file format, which is brilliant because it gives you a lot more control over the photo editing process. But the disadvantage I had with that is I had to download the Adobe DNG converter in order to actually get the RAW photos working on my computer. But you might not have any trouble depending on the age of your computer. By the way, shooting pictures in RAW format is great for creating video thumbnails. Quite often I've been in a dark room, needed to create a video thumbnail, took a photo, and then I can really crank up the brightness because I've used the RAW photo format. Another plus I forgot to mention actually is the fact that you have unlimited record length, whereas other cameras like the Canon M50 will stop after a 25-minute or 30-minute record length. This one will keep going, which has been really beneficial for particularly videos like this. But anyway, going back to all the issues about this camera. The good news is there are workarounds for most of these things, which I won't go into now, but with the addition of some great accessories that are on the market, they can really solve most of the problems that you'll have with this camera. Now, I'm planning on releasing a variety of videos surrounding the ZV-1 and the accessories you can pick up, some of which I already have. So if you don't want to miss those videos, please remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you won't miss my upcoming videos on this camera. So the main reason I love this camera ultimately is that it's portable and it's easy to use. And also the internal mic is unusually good quality for a camera. Most cameras have historically had rubbish audio, whereas this one is pretty good. I'm actually using a tie mic at the moment, but I will play some footage now showing you what the audio is like straight out the box. Cue footage. Because I actually had an operation yesterday, and also my child projectile vomited on my face. In conclusion then, the Sony ZV-1 meets pretty much all the criteria we listed for a good camera to start or continue running your online business or your YouTube channel. Personally, I would highly recommend this camera, particularly if you're at the point of wanting to up your game. Bear in mind though, there are some rivals to this camera out there, so do your research into those before making a purchase on this camera. For instance, you've got the Canon M50, which is the main competitor to this camera. There's some pros and cons to that one over this one. You've also got a good range of action cameras, including GoPros, which are brilliant at stabilisation. They're industry leading, to be honest. Then you've got other action cameras like the Insta360 1R, and you've got DJI Osmos as well, which are built with stabilisation in mind. And of course, you've got your smartphone. Ultimately, it's better to start somewhere than nowhere at all. Don't let equipment put you off from starting. But ultimately, for me, I am absolutely loving this camera. It's great for anyone who's producing videos for business, for a small business, or for YouTube. I hope this video has been really useful to you. And if you do have any questions, please do drop me a comment below and I'll get back to you with an answer as fast as I can. And before you go, I would like to ask you a favour. Please do remember to hit the like and the subscribe button, because that will really encourage me, but also it will mean that you don't miss any of my future content that I plan to release on the Sony ZV-1. Take care guys, thanks ever so much for watching. Go shoot some videos. Bye for now. Right, let's do this, people. Now, apologies for the lighting setup, because I've got very cheap lights. I'm just about to have a birthday where I will receive better lights, and I'm looking forward to using them.